Hello. Is your life's purpose to take down big oil? Do you enjoy being cranked by someone else's hand? Would you like to stop an alien invasion from the confines of your motor vehicle? This is Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. The title doesn't make this a big surprise, but it can and will fulfill your natural urge to collect shiny objects. I do understand that most people have a massive backlog thanks to holiday sales, but I suggest putting this Italian masterpiece at the top of your list. The countless nights I've dreamt of jumping from the ground has made me platformer obsessed. I've become enamored with them, especially those with gimmicks. The gimmick for this game is inspired by the now heralded Taxi Life, a driving simulator. It's no coincidence that exactly 33 days passed between these two releases. 33, a number I undoubtedly don't have to explain. Anyways, the only disappointing thing about Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom is that it cost me $14, and I only got 13 hours of gameplay. Your mileage may vary though, because I'm slightly incompetent while
hallucinating behind the wheel.
It's a 3D platformer in the same vein as classic N64 titles, but I feel in the gameplay that it's much more than that. The narrative of collecting random trash and leaping through increasingly difficult levels is not usually a concern of mine. Having said that, the story is less of a story, but more of a motivation. I understand those are identical, but we're only here to answer one question. Why go vroom? Enter your newest male fantasy. Morio. This ball of pure Italian machismo is not only your creator, but the reason to check under your bed at night. Gazing upon his exceptionally hairy chest and pristine mustache reads, "Why did I find this jar of ragu under your bed?" Mario has single-handedly given life to a toy car. This is for the express purpose to take down big oil company Tesla, headed by Alien Mosk. This 4-foot king has carefully placed infected green gears around in order to pollute the world's oil. Mario has designed us like a prehistoric wind-up car to circumvent fossil fuels. In this economy, I would rather ooga booga than become infected anyway. This leads us to the basic controls. First of all, don't watch a speedrun before playing. It may just be the single thing that discourages you from reaching nirvana. A small percentage of people have described the controls as tank-like. The learning curve is actually incredibly small. After a couple of levels, my trembling hands and ignorant fingers work together to make traversing levels incredibly entertaining. Also, here's a fun fact, without a jump button is not entirely true. All of the movement techniques utilize a boost instead. Every level looks like relativity, therefore you must boost off of ramps to gain flight. You can cancel the boost though with pressing the same button, or hitting reverse. The former does a small hop, while the latter does a more significant, some say, jump, albeit in any direction except forward. But wait, there's more, because if you accelerate after boosting, you can do a super boost. This is quintessential to reaching the higher and farther areas. No worries, because civilians don't seem to mind if you miss and plummet onto their roof. There is one other mechanic within Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. In case you've forgotten what game this is, you are a taxi. To all who pay the crank toll, you may chauffeur them to their desired destination. After all, Mario has designed you to be a wage slave as people really demand for you to... In around half of the levels, you have an arbitrary time limit because Mario isn't always there to be your wind-up bitch. Due to clocks completely littering the streets, you only need to pick up certain people. Along with time, some particular passengers reward you with the one thing we desire. Eventually, moving at the speed of sound means you no longer need to look at the time except when you're awkwardly searching around for your next gear. Like every 3D platformer, there's plenty of collectibles to yoink in the name of saving the world. We've established our main shiny object as the green gears, but there are two other secondary collectibles. Firstly, there are plenty of gold coins to pay my rent. Money only serves two purposes in this society. You either lose some when you fall to your death, or you spend them on your impending hat addiction. There are many rooftop editions for sale, mostly for fashion, but a couple are for specific achievements if you care about that. Think of these as politically correct truck nuts. Secondly, there are 3 golden bunnies on each of the main levels. These urine-colored rabbits are a bit more challenging to obtain than gears, but are only important if you care about the post-game. Once completing the main game, you could enter this mighty rocket to attempt some of the more difficult levels. These are smaller levels, but are tuned in to what made each level great. Speaking of great levels, there are plenty to explore. Each one isn't incredibly different from one another, but they are all unique. One of my favorites was Maurizio City, where we help out a escaped convict during an interesting predicament. Our energy-efficient journey causes us to travel to such thrilling locations as Italy, slums in India, and an Italian man's brain. That last one allows us to see how Mario truly feels about his creation. Another favorite was Gym Gears, strictly because of the bass music in this guy. All of the levels are honestly great to play except one, Crash Test Industries. We don't talk about Crash Test Industries because depth perception isn't my strongest trait. While you enjoy tripping balls behind the wheel, we can meet lifelong friends. You encounter the ruler of Italy himself, Pizza King. Historians have yet to understand how he escaped the womb. Also, the same people are in dire need of a ride across town despite being able to follow us to each level. The conspiracy is unraveling. This is all a test. I've never met this man in my life. Where am I? Why are we here? There aren't too many enemies in Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom other than finance bros in a couple levels and obsolete cars in a few more. You see here?
Enemy spotted.
This is what polluted oil does to beta cars. We pray to our creator every day and commit acts of terrorism in his name. The experience may be short, but Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom is a good time, and it really makes you feel like a car. It's a simulation like none other. If epilepsy doesn't end you first, the final boss should leave you satisfied. With that being said, if you need a rating to decide where to spend your chicken tendy fun, I rate Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom yellow out of red.